If you find task 1 of your writing, which is summary writing, a hard nut to crack, well, watch this video till the end and you will realize that difficult problems actually have very simple solutions. All you have to do is break certain rules and follow altogether a different path. Let's get cracking. Now I'll also answer some of these common questions which may bother you, which may trouble you. But first of all, let's see what kind of questions we are going to discuss here. This summary, it relates to London being the capital, the mighty money capital of the world. That's summary number 1, which we will discuss here. Summary number 2 we'll discuss, that's comparatively a latest one, which is on the wild giant panda population in China. Third question which we will discuss in this tutorial is the impact of increased life expectancy or longevity. Fourth one is that the summary on the eels, how they attack and do they actually attack or not. And the last one we'll discuss is American English. Now these 5 questions they will help you to understand that summary writing is comparatively an easy task, provided you understand what you have to do. Let's start it straight away. Now we need to focus on the central idea. What is the central idea? It's the main intention of the author. If you read, generally it's in the first couple of paragraphs that you find it, and once you are able to once you're able to locate this, well, the job becomes much simpler. So this is how the summary looks like. This one, the one which is on the London being the biggest financial center in the world. If you read it like this, I'm highlighting certain key areas. So this is the main point. Why this is the main point? Because the rest of the information actually is surrounding this main point. This is the explanation of the main point. So the main point here is London is the biggest or the mighty money capital in the world. This is a supporting information where we say surpassing New York, Frankfurt, Tokyo. It tells us how much money it controls. And the second part is, well, it says there are some drawbacks. Remember the golden rule. One paragraph, one summary will give you 2, maximum 3 points. One is the central idea that you must find. And the remaining 2 or 1 or 2, they are basically the supporting ones. Central idea must be there. And you don't need to be very creative. Simply you can link these words or link these phrases using simple conjunctions. So look at that. London has become the world's mighty money capital, and this phrase exactly we have extracted from the story here. You don't need to be very creative. Remember, in PTE, not necessarily in the summary you use your own wording. You can if you want, but that's not going to add significantly to your score. The main thing is how you link different ideas. They must be cohesive. There should be no grammatical error, and if you can achieve that, you definitely get what you want. So this is the first part. This is the main idea. So we link this main idea, okay, and the other part which is actually contradictory. Remember, there are 3 words normally we use, 3 conjunctions: but, although, or yet. These words, they are instrumental. They are very, very important when you're linking 2 ideas which are opposing to each. So in this case, this is what we are saying. We are praising London for being the biggest or the mightiest money capital in the world, and this is where we raise those drawbacks. So simply this part we get connected to this one using this conjunction. Simple, easy, and we have summary number 1, the answer ready. Now, does it cover all the key points? Yes, it does. Do I need to write my own words? You can if you want, but it doesn't matter. In PTE, take the advantage. There is no teacher, it's only a software, and you can be smarter than a software. And just to give you a different idea that what are the different versions we can write for the same question, well, have a look. This is the one which we have just discussed, and these 3, well, they have a bit of variation. Remember, summaries need to be faithful. They are self-contained, precise. It's a precise text. It has to be faithful. You can't change the central idea. All you can do is change the vocabulary, change the words, paraphrase, or just to bring a variation. But as I said, in PTE, then that won't benefit us significantly, considering it's a race against time. Rather than spending a lot of time thinking of different words, edit and proofread your work, that's where you actually gain significantly. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is on this panda population in China. It's comparatively a new summary. The one which we have just done, that is on the London being the financial center in the world, the biggest one. That's an old one. It's with us for the last 2.5 years. And this is comparatively a new one. But again, the basic rules still apply, which is you go back and start looking for the central idea. And what's the central idea? Now, I'm assuming you already have access to this paragraph. If not, then freeze the frame for a few seconds. Try to go through this passage and again focus on the central idea, the main point. And you will realize after some time that it's mainly about how they have conserved these pandas, how they have raised the population. And this paragraph, it's very, very important here. Now, if you highlight, I'm just highlighting it for you. If you read it carefully, you will realize that main information actually lies here in this case. It's a very, very useful paragraph. So what I'm doing is look at that. I'll just copy that. Now, obviously, in the real exam, you can't copy the way I'm doing. The point I'm raising here is that even if you cannot articulate your thoughts, answers are there. You can use the phrases which are already there in the story, in the paragraph, and develop a good answer. So it's already there. So as it is, if you see carefully, well, it's a very good passage. It covers most of the information, approximately 30 words. And if you want to supplement something, well, let's read this part. And this is the reaction WWF is giving on this conservation. So look at that. Now we have those two ideas. One being the central idea. Second is the supporting information. All we need to do is click those two ideas, link them. So I'll remove this full stop, add a conjunction, simply in this case and, because we are adding more information. And if you see carefully now, there are about 41 words. And let's have this font. And if I remove this highlighted text, read, this is a very good sentence and covers all the key points. So question number 2, again, using a simple method of finding the relevant information, the central idea, we can easily crack these questions. Let's go to summary number 3. Now this question relates to longevity. And reading this passage carefully, you will realize the first part tells us about the situation where people are living longer. And this part is about the implications, and here are the solutions. You will see many summaries that they raise an issue, and then there are consequences, and then there are solutions. Again, let's focus on the central idea. We do not have to worry about the so-called minute details. We are not writing an essay, we are writing a summary. Remember, it's a self-contained text that will pinpoint to the central idea, and we will omit the so-called unimportant points. So if you see carefully again, this sentence here can be very, very useful where we raise the issue. And in this paragraph, if you carefully note, it says here that under the current system, well, you won't be able to save for the decent retirement. Remember, the next part is about the example. Examples are to clarify certain doubts. The author will normally, through the example, will clarify the point he or she wants to raise. Remember, we are writing summary, we don't have to worry about that. And here is the solution. These two researchers, this is the solution they are proposing. Okay, so we have one main point, and then we have a bit of more information, and here comes the solution. So how do we go about this summary? Again, we will link those ideas in a logical manner. Let's see how we do it, using conjunctions, of course. So very simple trick. Just copy this again. As I said, you can't copy the same way I'm doing here. In the real exam, you simply type the words You can obviously read the story there, read the paragraph. So these are three parts. See how we work. This is where the issue is raised. Life expectancies have been rising up by up to 3 months. Not necessarily mention that, but as of now, for the sake of simplicity, for the sake of explaining, I'm not removing that information. I'm simply removing this full stop. Simply say and, remove this word that, because we are changing the structure a little bit. And under the current system, it's almost certain. Remove this full stop, and simply we can say here, so these two researchers, now we have this sentence with us ready, and approximately 63 words, and we cover everything. Now when you actually link or use phrases as they are mentioned in the paragraph, you tend to write bit bigger summary, but again we have the range 75 words. As long as we are within that range, it's fine. Remember, more than writing or developing your creative thoughts, I'll suggest you to focus on proofreading and remove certain errors which arise out of the pattern. So this is one summary. Again, we have an answer. That's a quick fix. Simply pick this one, this one, this one, link them using simple conjunctions. So in this case, we use word so, we use word and you may remove contraction if you want. You can simply say will not be able to, and that makes a good summary. Just to compare, these are two more. Spend some time, freeze this frame, and read it carefully, and you will realize that answer more or less convey the same thing. It's only your sense of achievement which you feel. It's only your so-called pride that what you get when you write summaries in your own way. Remember, in case of PTE, it doesn't matter much. So just go through these three. This is the simplest one to create. These obviously demand a bit of extra work, but we have the answer. You must have realized by now that complex problems do not need complex solutions. Solutions should be simple. That's what our approach is. Let's solve the next question. Again, we are going to be focusing on the central idea. We are not bothered about using our own wording. You can if you want. Stick to the content, remain faithful to the original idea, and we don't write abstract information. Conjunctions, of course, are very, very important. So I'm just highlighting the points in this summary. This is a summary on eel attack. Some of the students don't understand the story. It's actually not difficult. Yes, it has got a bit of a scientific touch. This is one part which is very, very important. Okay, where it says somebody with the name Alexander recounted a battle between horses and electric eels. People thought he's exaggerating, and then later scientists realized actually that's true. So if you want to create your own summary, well, these are the points. Okay, these are the two main points, and you can write something like this. Freeze the frame, read in your own time, and my approach as of now is to offer you a simple solution, especially for those students who cannot articulate. They know what they have to write, but they don't have the right words in their head. So I'll just explain once again. Let's go back to the basics. This part is very, very important. So I'll just copy it as it is. Okay. So just see what we do again. Simple solution to a complex problem. This is one part copied from the story, from the passage. This is another, suggesting that perhaps he exaggerated means he was kind of blowing the issue out of proportion. And we have, in this case, somebody observed the same thing in a controlled environment of a lab. What we will do is simply do a bit of modification, make it capital. Explorer and naturalist Alexander, he recounted a battle between horses and eels on his trip, and simply will link, suggesting that perhaps we can simply remove his name, use pronoun he exaggerated, and then simply will link this part, but then rather than saying he, a scientist, because we have another character in the story, observed the same behavior in the lab, and this is what gives us a ready-made answer. Simple, very much effective. We'll just remove that those colors. So we have about 57 words. As I said, well, you tend to write a bigger summary, a bigger answer if you actually copy the words, the same phrases. But again, let me make a comparison for you. So this is what we have just developed using the story, using the context, and that's what we had based on our creativity. Now you will realize that more or less the information is same, but this was comparatively easy to develop. Again, my focus here is not to prove something, but make it simple for you. That's what a student would need, especially when you're doing something in 10 minutes. Remember, time is very, very important in PT. It's a race against time. So freeze the frame, read these three answers. These two are developed. It's a creation of our mind. This is something which is a kind of a ready-made solution. Remember a word in Hindi and Punjabi called jugaad, which actually means creative and economical solution to the complex problems. That's what we are doing. Let's go to the next question. Okay, the fifth and the last summary of this tutorial. Remember, in the real exam, you're not going to get 5 summaries, 2, maximum 3 summaries, and you have 10 minutes to solve the question, each question. If you've been to the exam recently or any of your friends, you must be aware of this summary, American English, very popular summary nowadays. You may not get the summary in this format, in the sense that it's possible that you have the summary like one paragraph. Okay, for the sake of simplicity, I'm splitting that into different paragraphs. Now let's solve this question. Again, I'll suggest you to freeze the frame if you really want to read it thoroughly. I'm assuming you already have this passage with you. These are the possible answers you may write. Again, these answers are based on your own creative ideas, creative input, and you may read. Again, freeze the frame, understand. You may find something very fancy, which is good, but practically, if you just read this part here, I'm just highlighting for you, just copy this part. This is as good as any other answer. So if I just write this and obviously replace the small t with the capital 1, this full stop, and this answer is as good. You did nothing, simply copied, and obviously you don't copy with Control C and Control V. Note down all the words correctly, make sure spellings are right, and this gives you the answer. So what did we achieve? My objective, my point, my purpose was to convey you the message that even if you do not have that creative power, your linguistic maturity is not there, you can still get your desired score. All you need to do is smartly understand that answers are there. There are many phrases. All you have to do is utilize those phrases, link them properly with the right conjunction, and once you know how to link, well, job becomes much easier. I understand it was a lengthy video, but I hope you enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you so much for your patience, and I wish you happy learning.